Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today on our Microsoft Strategy Update. My name is David Bloxham, the Marketing Manager for UK and Ireland. I'll soon be handing over to our main presenter who will be taking you through today's session. Before I hand over to Tony, just a few housekeeping rules. You may have noticed that you've been set on mute. This is just to ensure that the sound quality remains at an optimum. So please, if you do have any questions, then we won't have time on today's session. So please use your SoftwareOne account manager to follow up with any queries you have off the back of today's session. So Tony, I'll hand over to yourself.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Microsoft Strategy Update call. We've got lots of changes on the horizon from Microsoft, as always. If you guys don't know me, my name is Tony Mackleworth, and I'm Head of Microsoft Advisory Services at SoftwareOne, based in the UK. Just to give you some background on me, I used to work at Microsoft, both as a SAM consultant and as a licensing specialist, responsible for working with customers to negotiate licensing contracts. Back in 2012, I joined SoftwareOne and soon started up the Microsoft Advisory Services practice. We're now working all across the world with various global and local clients across various industries, across banking and insurance, logistics and others. In a nutshell, we help our customers buy the right technology on the right contracts at the best price. And I think with the ever-evolving and faster release cadence from Microsoft, we've got our hands full. So it's a great time to be doing this type of work. For your personal reference, my personal blog is microsoftlicensereview.com, and I put regular licensing updates on there, and it's a bit of a wiki for some of the older stuff as well if you're an anorak. So just to cover some of the agenda for today, I wanted to touch on the updates to the Enterprise Mobility Suite being rebranded as Enterprise Mobility and Security, and there will be E3 and E5 options available. Similarly, Microsoft have extended Windows 10 Enterprise to include an E5 option, rebranding across a standard E3 and E5 licensing vehicle. Microsoft have also announced a overall overarching bundle for their services called Secure Productive Enterprise, again distinguishing between E3 and E5 functionality. And also, very importantly, Microsoft have announced Enterprise Advantage on MPSA, a new way to buy software that is looking at an evolution of the old enterprise agreement into a new consolidated contractual and procurement framework. So that's the core of today's call, and I'll be going through that step by step, kicking off with EMS. Just to set some context about what Microsoft are doing in terms of their strategy, so you can see how this stuff is fitting together. We're really seeing identity as critical to Microsoft's strategy. I think it's probably their most central part of what they're trying to achieve in terms of leveraging a identity-centric licensing model, but also an identity is centered to adoption of their own cloud services, management of the identity consistently across their cloud and other cloud services, as well as your corporate applications. So really this is centric to their strategy, and something you should consider when evaluating your roadmap for Microsoft solutions and cloud services. We've seen Microsoft leveraging their prior dominance of identity with Active Directory to really trying to expand with Enterprise Mobility Suite into not only mobile application management and MDM, which is reflected in Intune, but really extending on that into identity and access management, and also now more recently with these new updates, stepping into the security management space. So we're seeing a bold use of their suites, of their bundles, to enter a new market by essentially discounting and consolidating technology selection with their clients and leveraging their market predominance. Of course, we've seen a continual evolution from the perpetual licensing model where when you traditionally you bought a piece of software and you walked away and you came back when you're ready to upgrade. We got we slowly got used to the idea of paying Microsoft an annuity with software assurance. Principally, that used to be about getting the rights to new features, but we kind of saw security updates as intrinsic into buying that perpetual license. Now we've seen slowly Microsoft evolve across their Microsoft solutions and their platforms to kind of have security updates and feature updates on a service branch model. So you pay them continually, you get those security updates, but then on a more regular release cadence, you get new features. So really the opportunity to stand still is something that you're going to actually have to pay for specially as well, and you're going to have to think about what service branches you adopt. And this is impacting everything from the Windows platform to, in the future, Windows Server 2016. System Center is going to be on this service branch release cadence, and you've also got Office as well on this as well. So if you think that within the wider context, it's Microsoft have really established a strong annuity repeatable revenue platform across their productivity and OS platforms as well. And of course, if you want to stand still, increasingly difficult, and you're going to have to think about long-term servicing branch options, which are available across Windows and Windows Server. So something you're going to have to profile within your own organizations. We're increasingly seeing Microsoft really expand on System Center, with System Center on-premise kind of moving to a service branch model. And, if you're looking at Windows 10 with the later release builds, for instance, with the Windows 10 anniversary update release that's just coming on August 2nd and is already hitting the market, you're going to be wanting to think about having a System Center upgraded to 2016 and having that continually updated, supporting future branches. But also we're seeing a cloud extensibility with the Microsoft Operations Management Suite. So the idea of in the future really is to have that single pane of glass management layer across not only your Microsoft and on-premise environments, but also other clouds as well, and expect that to evolve as we see going forwards, and displacement of other third-party management solutions. We've seen Microsoft boldly move into the cloud desktop market. You'll see the start of it now, with having really a consistent user-based subscription metric across their Office 365 services and Windows. This is now even evolving with the strategic partnership they've announced with Citrix, where you'll be able to take VDI from Azure and access applications over remote app technologies, and extensive interoperability between the Citrix and the Microsoft platform. So really getting some market predominance there potentially in that space, and Microsoft really trying to capitalize on their investments in Office 365 and Windows 10. And so we're really seeing potentially a one-stop shop cloud desktop as a service evolving. No word yet on Windows 365 as such, even though they trademarked it over a year ago. We've seen Windows 10 upgrade motion, really enabling them to take advantage of adopting the antivirus space, with Windows Defender coming out intrinsically with that operating system. So a new emboldened Microsoft from the fear of the monopoly previously. We've also seen Microsoft stepping into a new space with setting themselves up as a telco, something I predicted a couple of years ago. We're now really starting to see that coming to fruition with the mass rollout of Skype for Business voice capabilities in terms of cloud PBX, cloud calling plans, and cloud sort of conferencing as well. So really this is starting to really come in, and it's coming into the Eve Drive type capabilities of that stack, and a really bold move from Microsoft in this space. We've seen Microsoft differentiating themselves from some large players by quickly integrating the technologies they acquire. So really they're very quickly embedding it. I think a lot of their innovation isn't necessarily always in-house. It's about acquiring the right players in the market, but integrating them into the existing stack, making sure that that's interoperable, sticky, and also has that consistent UI across. So we've got a couple of examples we'll take you through now. And also finally, not only from this cloud-first annuity-based strategy and massive competitive displacement program they're working on, we've also got them continuing to look at how they manage their contracts. If you've been in the game for a while, you would have been familiar with terms like enterprise agreement, previously Select and then Select Plus or even Open Agreements. And Microsoft are really moving towards something called MPSA, Microsoft Products and Services Agreement. And we're going to see that standardization through their newly announced Enterprise Advantage on MPSA. So we'll take you through some details of that in this call. Importantly, we're seeing persistent user-based metric across ever-expansive bundles that really are meeting their strategic goals, but also displacing some large competitive footprint out there in the market by leveraging this bundle play. So just to give you an update on the end-user computing stack as it stands today, and I wanted to start with EMS as I promised. Enterprise Mobility Suite, now Enterprise Mobile and Security, EMS, is going to be divided into two levels of suite. There's going to be an E3 and an E5. In this slide deck, you can see that the core E3 functionality is there, with the little red triangles indicating E5 level functionality, or that can be purchased through individual Plan 2s being added on. What's Microsoft trying to do with EMS? Well, it's in the top right of the innovation in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. They're seeing really opportunity for a single digital persona for our corporate identities. And if I was a betting man, I'd say LinkedIn is going to play a part in that. And if you think about, if you own identity and you can be responsible for brokerage of that identity using your market predominance in Active Directory and owning the identities through LinkedIn with X billion, I think it's 4.8 billion off the top of my head. No, it can't possibly be that. It's very high anyway. 480 million, sorry. That would make more sense. And the brokerage into various cloud services from Salesforce to AWS, etc., Dropbox, Box. So you can kind of see that if you own a digital persona, their Active Directory push is going to be very important to their overall strategy. And it's not just SSO to the cloud, but also your own corporate applications, and there's huge investments in that space. They're also starting to really leverage their investment in machine learning, not only in analytics, but predictive analysis of threats to the environment, and this can enable users having certain rules around conditional access to corporate resources based on certain user profiles or geographies, certain device state factors. So this can really make identity-centric to the secure identity-based access to corporate resources across a plethora of devices and locations. We've also got, obviously, in Azure AD Premium, multi-factor authentication is going to remain there. And with regards to AD Premium Plan 2, really an extension of that machine learning in terms of privileged access policies. So being able to determine access policies based on certain criteria, supported by ongoing machine learning, and the ability of self-service for users to access secure or privileged information on a time-limited basis, and that can be managed as well. So we're talking about an identity management platform backed by machine learning. So that's kind of the Azure AD Premium and how that's evolving, and it's very core. It's an identity play on a massive scale. Azure Information Protection, really this is what Azure RMS has evolved into. RMS will remain within Plan 1 with some extensibility in terms of data level encryption and in terms of within corporation files and storage, but also we're seeing the extension of this with their very astute Secure Islands acquisition. So this is an acquisition they made in the last year, and they quickly onboarded a quick way to classify data and having encryption managed and tracked inside and outside the organization. So as a file is moved, you can track and monitor how and secure that file across a plethora of devices and across outside of your corporate environment. So really this is a huge play in leveraging machine learning to enable this intelligent classification of data and encryption at data level. So massive play into data loss prevention and information rights management from Microsoft there. We've seen Microsoft Intune continues to evolve. When I first spoke to customers about this, it was miles behind the competitors. Now we're seeing huge investments and massive release and feature cadence from them. Critical play in terms of the fact that you can manage applications in terms of anything from copy and paste and those types of features across the Microsoft productivity stack. So Office being available on various iPhones and Android devices now. We've also seen Microsoft look into security incident response management, SIRM space. They started with ATA, Advanced Threat Analytics, which was an on-premise but machine learning back-end enabled analysis engine. But we've also seen Microsoft step into purchasing of the Adalon acquisition. That was the Cloud App Security Service. This is really cool in the sense that they're wanting to have a cloud app security broker. So in the sense of if you've got various applications connecting to corporate data and APIs, you can have machine learning based analytics for anomaly detection. You have a management platform for application permissions, and also integrate sort of app discovery around in terms of knowing what cloud applications are out there in your environment that users may be using, and securing what it can access in terms of corporate data. So if you take this as a whole, this is really extending beyond Intune, and Active Directory with identity at its core is really enabling Microsoft to step out and hopefully go through the owning identity of the cloud and being the true cloud brokerage, as well as encouraging use of cloud services on their Azure platform as well. One single consistent identity. So you can see really how this is coming into play in terms of not only enabling mobility, but trust for the enterprise in terms of cloud transformation. And at the core enterprise mobility and security, EMS, E3, that's essentially these four pillars here with Plan 1 functionality for AD Premium and Azure Information Protection. You can see how this is really extending out then with E5, with the Secure Islands acquisitions finding its home in Plan 2, and the Cloud App Security from the Adalon acquisition coming into play. So you can kind of see it here, machine learning very intrinsic to what they're providing here, and it's really an innovator in the space as recognized by Gartner. You can see then how it lines up with the Office 365 E3 suite, with their investments not only in the traditional SharePoint, Exchange and Skype and the evolution of the Skype business model, but also they've incorporated the Volumetrics acquisition with Delve, which is a very innovative sort of surfacing of information so you can work collaboratively with organizations and integrating with the Office Graph technology. So you can see how Microsoft are having this consistent E3 message, which brings me to the final pillar, Windows. So Windows 10 Enterprise has been included within this consistent E3 offering. Essentially, this is replacing the Enterprise Cloud Suite, which you may be familiar with. Essentially the same offering with the evolution of Enterprise Mobility Suite really coming into play here. And you can see this one end-to-end user-based metric, which can be quite compelling, and Microsoft certainly incentivize their customers to take in their pricing and negotiation strategy. E5, which we're all now familiar with, but not many of us have bought yet, really is the home for what I'd say really is incorporating some various plays in terms of market predominance strategy, in terms of taking market share. So you have Power BI, which is their play for analytics, going up against the likes of Tableau. So although in its infancy, I think, you know, the predominance of Excel, the fact that this will be bundled in with other services could help displace Tableau in various areas. I've discussed their movement into the telco space, Skype for Business, and their fast rollout across various regions now, and price plans being available. For instance, calling plans are now available in the UK and US, for instance. Delve Analytics is really that management layer to see how your users are working together, but also being able to understand about productivity. So if you think about it, it's connecting identity to the productivity applications and understanding how your users are being productive. So it's actually giving user-based information based on productivity, which could be very powerful. We've, of course, Microsoft trying to step you into having their security management layer. Not necessarily going to take the whole security stack, but they're using the machine learning investments, and they're BI type interfaces to really provide you with that management analytics layer. I wouldn't say it's necessarily more secure, because you can't expect Microsoft to have an insecure version of the cloud. It's all going to be secure, but it's giving that extra level of management and control about how that's managed in terms of threat analytics and response management. Also, we've seen advanced e-discovery come in with another acquisition of Equivio in terms of, again, machine learning backed capabilities in terms of auditing. And we've got customer lockbox, which I think should be intrinsic anyway, but it's the ability to lock down your data when you're having third parties manage incident requests on your behalf. So if you have particularly secure information, you need to lock down from third-party support. And then finally, the final pillar to this puzzle is Windows on this. So you have a consistent E5 stack, essentially the E5 version of ECS, which is going to be secure, collaborative enterprise E5. So Windows has got an E5 option. This is incorporating Windows Defender, advanced threat protection, again a machine learning enabled analytics platform to analyze and preempt threats across your endpoint devices. So a huge play from Microsoft across various realms here, and it gives you two consistent offerings. So if you see how these come together, so this build is just building out here. One of my colleagues said it's basically Office in a box. You've got Windows, you've got security layers, management layers, you've got all the ability to enable MDM and mobile application management, information rights management, DLP. You've got the full productivity and collaboration stack in there. You've got self-service analytics, and you've got cooling. You got your cooling plans. So it really is a real bold move to give you Office on a box and a single per user subscription metric. It's a very, very bold play. Work with SoftwareOne to evaluate how your roadmap aligns to the stack, and understand where strategic investments and your investment profiles can support this stack going forward for your business, and we can help profile out what you need out of this environment. So what does it mean to you? Well, Windows E5 and EMS E5 are due in over the last part of this calendar year. We'll be updating shortly on exact release dates. The Enterprise Mobility Suite components, the Plan 2s, are available, including the Cloud App Security add-along acquisition is now generally available. So keep an eye out for as these go from sort of pre-production into general availability. Enterprise Cloud Suite customers, if you've already committed to the ECS suite, have no fear. There will be an add-on model, and also you can certainly expect an incentivized from SA renewal option going into these suites in the future. So you can leverage these technologies for an add-on based licensing mechanism. So with that sort of perfect storm of acquisitions and licensing development from Microsoft, as well as service and solution development from MS, I want to bring you guys down onto EA on MPSA. Enterprise Advantage, not Enterprise Agreement. Really, this is what Microsoft were originally talking about in terms of the idea of having committed offers on the MPSA. The idea being that you don't have a separate enterprise agreement in terms of master agreement and enrollment, but really you're signing up under an MPSA. So increasingly expect a sales motion to drive certain customers under a single MPSA framework, and potentially signing up to transactional procurement under their purchasing accounts, or maybe making the decision to commit to a platform under Enterprise Advantage. So expect similar EA type offerings, for instance, like the Secure Productivity Enterprise E3s and E5s, sitting under the Enterprise Advantage banner under a single contract framework. It's a really interesting idea. It is this future next generation volume licensing they've been promising for a couple of years, and we're starting to see it come into fruition from calendar year 2017. Essentially, it should give us more freedom. It should give us the ability to subscribe buy software on an annuity basis with software assurance or renew software assurance, all within one contract without having to break out contracts, for instance. You can expect bundles to still exist in terms of enterprise-wide platform, enterprise-wide commitments, which will attract discounts, as well as platform commitments like the actual bundles as well. So you should expect a similar type mechanism, and you should expect aggregation of purchases based on volume you commit to. And apparently some levels A to B, C or D, and some automatic pricing based on your purchasing levels. Interestingly, this will have a starting point of 250 initially, not 500 as with the EA. So you can see Microsoft are using a bit of stick and carrot that I expect them to incentivize adoption of EA on MPSA for certain profiles of customer. I would expect particularly the level A customers from the 250 to the 2499 seat range potentially. I think that'll be the natural renewal sales motion you'll expect from Microsoft. So there should be a mixture of stick and carrot. The 500 minimum on EA has gone into place now. However, you can do a one-time, I think it's a one-year renewal. I have to double check that, but you've got that one-time renewal for customers who are currently sub 500. Still true up and true down model on annual reconciliation on EA on MPSA. Important critical update, it's going to be indirect. So this is a massive opportunity for the global channel market. SoftwareOne is certainly probably one of the best organizations lined up to support. We're global. There's this massive investment in our digital platform, so we have the ability to take over the cost of sale. And this is essentially what Microsoft are doing. They're offloading the cost of sale and billing process to the channel and removing this cost from their process. But equally, this is a great opportunity for us. We can enable you with, say, our PyroCloud digital platform. Will give you that really granularity in terms of being able to control your contract renewal, having a contract renewal platform, but also having integration into your own software asset management, your procurement systems. So this is going to be a really interesting piece, and we have PyroCloud ready to go, and certainly speak to your account manager about this. From this digital platform, MPSA is essentially going to be a digital platform for Microsoft as well. So they want higher deal throughput. So it's going to be procurement through this platform, indirectly through your reseller like SoftwareOne. So a higher speed velocity in terms of getting you delivery of the software and onboarding of your cloud services for you guys. As I said, customers on larger contracts aren't necessarily going to be forced under this. I expect really it's going to be above the 2,500 seat range. We'll have more support from Microsoft because they're more likely to have complex contract concessions that may need to be factored in. So, but just be aware, EA on MPSA will be an indirect contract, so there is a consideration on that. But really look at the value play the reseller provides, because you don't want it just to be a depressed value engagement, especially when you've got so much cloud technology and management of that cloud lifecycle and hybrid environments for you to take into consideration. So, key takeaways on the EA on MPSA. Expect negotiation empowerment to be kind of start embedded within an automated portal type structure. So what does this really mean? What's this portal structure really going to mean? Well, it's going to be easier to use. It's going to have self-service capabilities. You're going to have to see what you've got, manage your software assurance benefits more easily, access software downloads, which you can also enable further with PyroCloud in terms of contract management, self-service in terms of asset management capabilities and plugging into your SAM and procurement layer. But it is going to be easier. It is going to have a lower cost to sell to Microsoft, but not necessarily to partners, but SoftwareOne incredibly well positioned to handle this. I would advise you that the cons to be aware that increasingly it's going to be about standardization, which means that there's going to be less empowerment in terms of negotiation potentially in the future. If you think about it, if everything's going through a portal, they can have a machine learning back end. They can track in terms of pricing and discount structures. They can align it towards their strategic goals. So increasingly more centralization, automation of how they handle pricing and negotiations worldwide from Microsoft. So speak to SoftwareOne to understand how this framework will evolve, and when you're coming up to your next renewal, how we can plan this appropriately. One great idea really is that you can work with SoftwareOne. We do track not only pricing and benchmark contracts globally, we can benchmark in terms of sourcing locations, in terms of currencies. So if you are a globally placed organization, you have this amazing ability to have pricing arbitration on a per transaction or per deal basis. Obviously we have to factor in cloud and cloud scenarios where your tendencies are, but this could be a great opportunity to really empower and take control of getting the best price for your business. In terms of thinking about how EA and MPSA can be enabled, you may want to bring in our advisory function, for instance, in Microsoft, to look at your technology roadmap and design with you a best fit licensing strategy and bill of materials to really achieve what you want to achieve from a digital transformation and business enablement perspective, but also achieve your cost savings you guys are trying to get. And so there's a two-tier thing: best fit and best price. Cloud adoption, we obviously have made huge investments in terms of our solution architects globally. We can help with planning and fast-track migration. So if you have any business investment funding or service investment funding, deployment planning services, or you want to just bring our guys in to help scope out your cloud migration and adoption strategy, we can do that. SoftwareOne have made massive investments in cloud support, so you can have Office 365 and Azure managed support from us all under one price tag. So if you think about this, this is fantastic. You can go to have a one single user price. It's going to not only give you the cloud, it's going to help you adopt the cloud, it's going to help you support the cloud, it's going to help you manage the cloud all in one. And that's pretty compelling, I think. That single per user price all through one billing agent is available. We've made massive investments in our digital platforms, as you've heard me say. PyroCloud is the name. We've also enabled that with our PyroCloud Pro offering, which is really about cloud metering, predictive analytics, and metering of your cloud consumption. So if you've bought Azure on a minimum commit and you're busting through your pre-commit levels, we can help resize and realign and plan around that. And we're extensive and going to have that extensibility into AWS, IBM, and VMware as well. So watch this space. Our SAM services are massively evolving to manage both on-prem and cloud environments with proactive risk monitoring in terms of things going out of support, for instance, really managing that Office 365 and Azure license management, which is a weakness in the market at the moment. So expect massive advances from us in this space. You can also then integrate your SAM services into your software procurement function. If you can work with us to ensure the best price and best sourcing option for your organization, not only with the tier one, but also principally with your long tail spend as well. So you can see how our digital transformation strategy is really aligning with Microsoft here, and we're probably the best place in the market to support with EA on MPSA. So in terms of next steps, guys, I want you to take away the fact that you may want to bring in the advisory function from SoftwareOne. You may want to think about how the Microsoft roadmap aligns with your own roadmap, capture and update that, profile out your services and your user alignments, and we can help get you a best fit licensing strategy going forward. You may want to think about adopting technology, whether you plan to or already investing in Office 365, Enterprise Mobility Suite, or Windows 10. We can help with our global solution architects. We've also got then our managed cloud support platform on the back end. If you guys want to get in touch, I am at tony.mackleworth@softwareone.com. Please reach out to your account manager as well. Loop them in. If you want to touch on any of these services you're interested in embarking on. I've got my own blog as well as SoftwareOne's blog as well. So hopefully that was useful, guys. A bit of a whirlwind tour onto it, but you can see massive advancements in the end user computing stack from Microsoft, really enabling a digital transformation. And you can see how their channel strategy in terms of indirect model could actually really be empower wraparound services that are going to make sense for you going forward with this new world of digital transformation. So thanks, guys. Thank you for taking the time. Please reach out to your account manager, and I'll look forward to talking to you guys on our next scheduled call, which will come back to you with dates shortly. We do plan to run more of these on a regular cadence, so you guys can keep on top of the latest roadmap and licensing updates from Microsoft. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, Tony. Thank you. So incredible amount of information that Tony's obviously just covered off there in the last 30 minutes. We have recorded today's session, so we will be sort of looking to send out a revised and edited session. As you can imagine, there's quite a lot of content here, so we have recorded today's webinar, so there were one or two querying whether it would be available. We'll be sort of sending out a revised version of this very shortly, and hopefully that'll be available tomorrow. So thank you once again for joining us today. Thank you to Tony for taking us through the session. Yeah, and as Tony mentioned, you know, we're looking to hold these on a regular basis, so look forward to seeing you on the future sessions. Thank you very much.